Boris Johnson is accused of committing a constitutional outrage, acting like a tin pot dictator and engineering a coup. And that's just a small sample of the comments from opposition MPs after the Prime Minister announced he's suspending Parliament just a few days after it returns next week. It'll cut the amount of time MPs have to debate and perhaps stop a no-deal Brexit. But Mr Johnson insists that isn't why he acted.
As I said on the steps of Downing Street, we're not going to wait until October the 31st before getting on with our plans to take this country forward. And this is a new government with a very exciting agenda to make our streets safer. It's very important that we bring violent crime down. We need to invest in our fantastic NHS. We need to level up education funding across the country. We need to invest in the infrastructure that's going to take this country forward for decades, and we need to deal with the cost of living, moving to a high-wage, high-productivity economy, which is, I think, what this country needs to be. And to do that, we need new legislation. We've got to be bringing forward new and important bills, and that's why we are going to have a Queen's speech, and we're going to do it on October the 14th, and we've got to move ahead now with a new legislative programme. There will be ample time on both sides of that crucial October the 17th summit, ample time in Parliament for MPs to debate the EU, to debate Brexit and all the other issues. Ample time. All you should take from this is we're doing exactly what I said on the steps of Downing Street, which is that we must get on now with our legislative domestic agenda. People will expect us. We need to get on with the stuff that Parliament needs to approve on tackling crime, on building the infrastructure we need, on technology, on levelling up our education, and reducing the cost of living. That is why we need a Queen's speech, and we're going to get on with it.
What do current members of Boris Johnson's cabinet think of the idea of Parliament being shut down to push through a no-deal Brexit? Well, we don't know. We asked for an interview with anyone in government, and our request was declined. And you wonder to yourself, what must the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, think of all of this? Here's what he thought on June the 10th.
And then there's this idea from some people, you might have heard of it. There's this idea from some people that to deliver Brexit, we should suspend our parliamentary democracy, that we should prorogue Parliament. But that goes against everything that those men who waded onto those beaches fought and died for. And I will not have it.
Matt Hancock on June the 10th, before he was made Health Secretary by Boris Johnson. What does the Work and Pensions Secretary, Amber Rudd, think of the idea of suspending Parliament to push through a no-deal Brexit? Well, we don't know. But here's what she thought on June the 16th, talking to Sky News' Sophie Ridge.
Boris Johnson's gone further than that as well. He hasn't ruled out proroguing or suspending Parliament in order to push through no deal.
Which is absolutely outrageous. The idea of leaving the European Union in order to take back more control into Parliament and to consider closing Parliament in order to deal with that is the most extraordinary idea I've ever heard.
I mean, Rory Stewart has said that he would be prepared to set up another parliamentary session across the road. Would you join him?
Well, I'm not going to use the same colourful language as Rory, but I certainly feel just as strongly as he does. It is a ridiculous suggestion to consider proroguing Parliament. And for a start, it would involve approaching the Queen. And that, of course, is an absolutely... nobody should consider doing that.
Amber Rudd speaking on June the 16th, before she was appointed Work and Pensions Secretary by Boris Johnson. What must the Business Secretary, Andrea Leadsom, make of all of this? Well, we don't know. But here she was speaking to Sky's Beth Rigby on June the 6th.
It was felt that it would not be something workable to prorogue Parliament. It's certainly not something I would seek to do anyway.
You wouldn't want to, though, would you? I mean, it completely
sort of
subverts parliamentary democracy.
Exactly.
You were the leader of the House.
Exactly. No, I'm passionate about parliamentary democracy, and so yes, it was my job to make sure I understood the implications of different outcomes, but certainly not because it was something I was attempting to do.
You think it's a bad idea? Just to be clear, you think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then
Andrea Leadsom speaking on June the 6th. She was subsequently appointed Business Secretary by Boris Johnson. What must the Culture Secretary, Nicky Morgan, make of all of this? Well, we don't know. But here she is speaking on July the 10th to ITV's Paul Brand.
What did you think of Sir John Major saying today that he would actually be willing to take that to judicial review if Boris Johnson tried to prorogue Parliament?
Well, I thought it's extraordinary. I'm a great fan of Sir John's, and I think that if it were to happen, I still think, and the One Nation hustings, we quizzed both Boris Johnson and Jeremy Hunt about prorogation. Neither said it was an option that they would be wanting to pursue. I think it would be extraordinary. I think it would lead to a constitutional crisis. But I'm very pleased that we have a Prime Minister, a past Prime Minister like Sir John, who is still willing to stick his neck above the parapet and say, I would not put up with this. And I think that is an important test of national leadership.
So you had there, from the last 2 months, the views of 4 people who are now in Boris Johnson's cabinet. Matt Hancock said of proroguing Parliament, I will not have it. It goes against everything the D-Day soldiers fought for. Amber Rudd said it was absolutely outrageous, the most extraordinary idea she'd ever heard, a ridiculous suggestion. Andrea Leadsom agreed proroguing would subvert parliamentary democracy. She agreed it was a bad idea. And Nicky Morgan called it extraordinary and would lead to a constitutional crisis. So far as we can gauge, none of those 4 people have said anything today about what Boris Johnson has done. So we don't know what they think. Perhaps they agree with what Boris Johnson has done. Perhaps they privately disagree, but they like being in the cabinet. I don't know. Matt, Nicky, Amber, Andrea, you're welcome to call me and tell me your view. 0345 60 60 973.